Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trucked Before. This one's a special one. We're watching South Park, the Spooky Fish episode from season 2 of South Park. It's got some truck stuff going on. It's a heavy mirror vibe. We talk about that. We talk about a few other South Park episodes involving Star Trek, among other things. You're here. Check it out. Also, something else to check out. She's here. Marianne from Marianne's Macabre Review.
Hello, folks. Just want to let you know that we have an episode that might be out already or might be coming out. It's called The Haunting of Hill House. It stars Colleen, Jessica, Tracy, J. Keith Jackson, and myself, and we talk about that. And don't forget, if you support us on Patreon, we actually have 4 clips that you can hear where we talk about special things that we found out in Haunting of Hill House, or we have a very interesting one from Stephen's wife, Colleen, about Stephen and a bargaining thing that she's thinking of trying, or actually Keith suggested that they would do. That might or might not happen. We don't know. We'll figure it out. Only maybe in the next episode we'll find out.
I can't wait to find out. I'm going to go to patreon.com/IABD and make sure my payment's going so I can hear that episode and find out what my wife is conniving to do. Speaking of conniving, that's a segue. It's all been done. Bare Naked Ladies podcast. They've connived away. I don't know where they are. Second album?
Fourth.
What? Fourth?
What?
Wow, I'm way behind. It's been 1 week at least since I listened to that. Yeah, I'm dropping Bare Naked Ladies things all over. Evidence Sake are going through the entire Bare Naked Ladies catalog, one song at a time, right up to the fourth album. We still call them albums? Is that what we're doing? CDs? Anyway, you can tell what they're doing. They're going through them all. They've reached the big one stunt. It's One Contains. I just said it. 1 week. Yeah. So
1 week.
It's already out.
With Justin McElroy return.
There you go. So go check these guys out. They're busting through it. They finally made it to the big point. It's kind of like us making it to the second season of Star Trek: The Original Series. Or, like right now, we made it to the second season of South Park. The episode Spooky Fish. Check it out here on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. We have your people here. Steven.
One of the people.
And your Keith.
Jimmy-Jerome and our returning guest.
Hello, I'm Marianne.
No one's Marianne.
A special episode.
Special episode where we're going to discuss South Park, specifically the episode Spooky Fish. But we also watched a clip from the episode Hooked on Monkeypox. Who would like to start?
Keith?
Well,
You should, because Keith's the ringleader of this special episode.
It was my suggestion. I've been watching South Park since it first aired, and there were a lot of things I'm finding going back through it that I wasn't really picking up on at the time because I hadn't watched as much Star Trek. I mean, I didn't. Yeah. I kind of understood that the beard or the goatee thing was from Star Trek in some way or another, but I didn't really know. I hadn't seen it. And so it's more satisfying to pick up some of these references now.
The Mirror Universe, Mirror. Just in case anyone that's listening is not
familiar.
I think they would be.
They should be.
The goatee. I love that they kept calling good Cartman evil Cartman.
Yes.
The Cartman from the other universe.
I was like, come on. We know he's the
But he's
good
from the
one.
evil universe.
Yeah.
That's I didn't know if I wanted to get into it that soon, but I did want to talk about the idea of consistency as far as opposite universes go and so forth, and just they just call it evil because that's what,
right. That's
flipping it.
Well, and the evil twin always wore the goatee in every.
Right.
I think we talked about in the Mirror episode how all the several soap operas use that, and not to mention cheesy TV shows and movies, and it's been spoofed a million times, but.
Well, and apparently, if you think about it, this world that they come from, there's a bunch of evil pets killing people all the time.
Yeah.
So it's surprising that everybody's like, our main characters were all still alive.
Yeah. That's
I don't think that was actually from the evil universe.
Oh, leaving that
I think
It's the Indian burial ground.
Yeah, the Indian burial ground. He's like,
that wasn't
unburied
clear.
them,
Did
peed
they
on them.
zap the pets back with them, or
No, they didn't.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, the pets were still murdering people at the end.
Yeah.
You know, it just dawned on me this watching that, because I'm like, Indian burial grounds, it's got to be Native American. It's like, nope, that's that guy who ruined it. He built it on the. He probably was like, nah, I'm gonna call it an Indian burial ground just to make it worse. So I just got that joke now, 20 years later.
And that, of course, is Poltergeist
Poltergeist,
Pet Cemetery in way too.
Yep.
For me, South Park wise, this was season 2, so I thought that this is like a sign of them coming into their own in the sense that the Cartman character was established well enough that you could make that funny immediately. You could see the character's reactions and the animation style with the big eyes, like, what the hell is happening? Why is he being so nice? That kind of just immediately. And the spooky music swelling every time you'd say something nice.
This was back when I was watching it every Wednesday at 10:30 because you didn't have DVRs or any of that, or Netflix or any of that stuff. So, although then again it was Comedy Central, so you'd see it'd be on at 10:30 and then at 1:30. And then at 10:30 again Saturday and 1:30, and then at 10:30 and 1:30 on Sunday. So you get 18 chances to see it, because you could probably see it at 4:30 too, any of those times.
Which was just what Star Trek was like in the 60s, right?
Exactly. Well, maybe in the 70s. And then probably in the late 80s and 90s. But yeah, so.
I was too young when this was on to watch. I wasn't allowed to watch South Park.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was as a child.
Really?
Wow.
No.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
makes sense. 98. This episode was.
Oh my god.
1998.
Oh my god.
1998, I was in high school.
This was.
My dad was. I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons, period. But even when he didn't believe that there were such things as cartoons for adults, but even like The Simpsons, I was not allowed to watch it specifically because the kids were rude to their parents. So South Park was not going to fly in my house.
I think I saw
Maybe
this.
you've heard of it.
In fact,
I do own it.
the week this was first telecast was the week I found out whether I passed the bar or not. I did.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. Hey, so there you go. But I think I did catch the 1:30 version because that night I went to Cleveland to see my wife and blah, blah, blah. But I came back to catch up with some law school friends and we all sat around stressing about whether we were going to pass or not. So by the time I got home, I'd missed the 10:30, but I think I saw the 1 o'clock or 1:30, whatever time it was on. But
It's great now, but there was a period in the middle.
I don't catch enough.
Yeah, there was a period in the middle that it sucked. Well, not sucked, but wasn't as good.
I think it's the first 6 or 7 seasons I was there every week, and then
Yeah.
I kind of lost the way. But whenever I go back, it's always...
I'd say around season 15, 16, it really picked up again, and they're doing some of
They're
their
back
best
in.
work recently, yeah.
And they won some Tonys and some other things along the way.
Well, they've just gotten really smart satire. They've gone down to like 10 episodes a year, which helps them refine. But I did notice a parallel between recent episodes and this one. This one, like, people were being murdered constantly, and everybody was so nonchalant about it, which I absolutely loved. Like, oh, murder your goldfish, well, that'll happen. Or Chef, like, oh, that'll work itself out. And, like, Kyle's like, oh, yeah, that sucks. And then they just keep talking, and it is a lot like this season, where every time they go to school, there's school shootings going on, and they completely ignore it and just keep having a conversation.
Interesting.
I wonder what the body count is in South Park.
Oh,
over
it's
the
worse
20
than
years.
Murder, She Wrote.
So it's like, yeah, there can't be that many people left in South Park in theory. But
People keep moving there.
again, I South Park, obviously, pretty much every week they just reset part of the appeal. There were a couple 90s things in there. Luke Perry,
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
the goatee.
Hella.
Lots of hella. I don't think Cartman said hella in other episodes. I think
No,
they
it
did
was
it
just this
specifically
one.
for that end.
Yes.
I think I think that's when it started becoming popular, or maybe
Yeah.
when it started getting overplayed, or something right around then.
Are Terrence and Phillips still on there a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Well-
now? No,
Yeah,
not very
now.
often.
Okay.
Not very
All right.
often. They peaked early. They peaked with the
They did.
movie.
Yes.
Bigger, longer uncut, which was a great... It holds up.
Kind of like Beavis and Butthead, their inspiration also peaked.
And so I was in my early 20s at this point, and I was working in IT. So I did start. I don't remember how exactly I was getting it, but I was downloading it on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, wow.
before- that was like.
Did it take
back
a
when they
week?
did that.
Oh, yeah, that was
week
a very
to
early
download
days of the
an
internet,
episode.
yeah.
I don't remember how it was. I guess I was using dial-up then. Too,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, you would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the split screen technology.
That was very funny. That was a
That was
reference
cute.
to how bad. Whenever they had twins and or evil twins or whatever, doubles, lots of times it was that terrible split screen.
I mean, Star Trek, it wasn't that terrible.
no, I thought
Yeah.
they did a better job
In
than
the 60s.
many other times.
But yeah, it cracks me up the way, like, bloopers and animation crack me up. Like, you know that it's all
Yeah.
purposeful.
Right.
Purposeful.
But I like that touch. That was a really nice touch.
Which reminds me, we had the moment at the end. No, shoot him, shoot
Right.
him. Which
Yes.
I know we had in Whom Gods Destroy, but Enemy Within wasn't this a similar thing
I think so.
that they had because they had to get them back together and.
So I'm having trouble remembering how did Mirror Mirror go exactly as far as did they have the goatee Spock in that? And
Yes.
It was a goatee Spock, so it's just based.
But Goatee
there-
Spock didn't ever interact with regular Spock because they were beamed over to the Mirror Universe show.
It was later episodes when they did who's the real one or something.
Yeah,
like
that was
That
the
was
Kirk
Whom Gods Destroy was one where the shape
and the enemy,
guy.
and the
Right.
Enemy Within also where there was evil,
Yeah.
not evil Kirk, but the good part of Kirk and the bad part of Kirk.
Right.
And the bad Kirk couldn't convince them that he was the good Kirk. He was overacting, over dramatic. Shoot him! him! I'm the good one! Yeah.
And then they killed the wrong one, just like in the South Park episode, because he was tricked. I liked the tricked twist, I guess.
Yeah, I remember that part.
I will say South Park rips off Universe Journey and that they kill Kenny every episode.
Yeah.
Like they kill our first
That's
officer
true.
every
That's
episode.
true.
Speaking of Universe Journey,
Yeah.
this is back to the thing that at the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we can talk about this yet, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are about how the mirror universe the echo dimension is going to work as far as people. Do they have to be the exact opposite personalities
No.
of the people? Or so
No, because that bothers me.
Yeah, all right. I agree. And so I wonder.
I mean,
Too hard
if you
to
remember
do.
the very first episode of the Echo Dimension we did in Universe Journey, they went over to a mirror version of the ship, but Grace was in charge, Kake was the lieutenant, and there really were no other crewmen we knew other than Meow Meow, because I was like, I don't want it to just be the same crew. That doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the Echo Dimension is quite different in a number of ways.
Isn't it
and we're going to
the-
explore it more here coming
But
up.
Isn't the old nurture versus nature argument? Because
Right.
I think part of the idea is
You're
that
raised
universe is
evil.
more hostile.
Right.
So those people had to adapt
Yeah.
to that universe. And of course, in the Star Trek already good universe, they got past those ways of war. And that's why they have this giant ship that shoots things at people every episode.
Defense. Self-defense.
Oh, you're right.
So my one note that I took
Uh-huh.
was with Sheriff Barbrady, and he was in the basement. And this is an old joke. This is an old joke that comedians have done for years. I think it was Stephen Wright that did it. If Jimmy cracked corn and no one cared, why'd he write a song about it? And it just like popped into my mind again right when he was singing it. And I was
I like
like,
that.
oh.
Do you guys see Shatner in the
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And what? I guess I'm.
They
Oh,
were
and
flipping through the missing bodies.
missing people?
Oh, that was Shatner.
Yeah.
At the very end.
Wow.
It was
That-
actual photo. It wasn't
that was
I
like-
thought it might have been Patrick Ewing or something.
No. Which
That
is
was
weird
the-
because I feel like, I don't know what he was doing in 98, but clearly Shatner was not missing.
No.
It was just
Well, I
it
think
might have
that-
just been like, hey, just so you
You
know.
get what we're doing
In case
here?
you don't know what we're doing.
That actually made her next line funnier of, I've never seen any of these people before. I mean, this is definitely a different version of Stan's mom than I remember from, because
Well, it's 'cause he had fun.
this was before her husband wore her down and made her just awful all the time.
Well, it's like before they really had the personalities down either, because
Yeah.
eventually Randy became more like a Homer Simpson type character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this, I mean, he'd barely been in the series that much at all. And
Yeah.
Now
I was
he's the biggest character other than the kids in current South Park. Yeah.
going to say this was the first time they ever used the Sharon
Yeah.
delivery, which
That's
I
my
loved
favorite
at the
line
time.
about,
Yeah.
well, why'd you have to take his pants off?
Yeah. Sure.
And that, of course, that's the thing he's most focused on.
For sure.
I think makes sense.
I like that the cop was willing to let it go. I mean, the cop wasn't even going to catch him. She
Bart
went for
Brady's-
completely unnecessarily. Yeah, Bart Brady's never in the show anymore either.
Yeah.
One other note on that Shatner thing, of course, his shirt was off.
Of course.
Just in case you didn't know, they were referencing the original series. So,
Wait, whose shirt?
Shatner in that little picture. In the
Oh,
car,
I didn't.
His
that
shirt was
a-
off.
oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
It was a more modern picture of Shatner.
Yeah, it was more of a 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got a lot of hair in that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's more modern Shatner.
Well, I think the hair on his chest was probably real, but the hair on his.
Yes, that's the
was-
part that I was.
Yeah.
This had nothing to do with Star Trek, but I really loved the Barbara Streisand on the
Oh my god, that
Yeah.
was so
I
funny.
guess she didn't like when they did the Mecha Streisand in
Right,
season
so they
one.
brought it
Okay.
back, yeah.
And I'm someone who loves Barbara Streisand. Like,
Oh, I love her too.
yeah, so
But
I'm like, the joke's on you. Keep showing me pictures of Barbara Streisand. I love it, but it is funny.
and part of me is like, oh, this celebrity didn't have a sense of humor about what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's poke her again.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is amusing to me.
Including the Super Friends with the faces shooting.
Yeah. Well, then the starship at the very beginning, the fake intro,
Yes.
where
I
that
love
was,
it when
looked
they
like
do
it
that.
was on wires, and then the alien was tiny and got run over.
Well,
I
I
loved
think-
that bit
Yeah.
a lot.
The year before was the first Halloween episode, which opened with a giant. Actually, I'm trying to remember how. I think was that the anal probe one.
Yeah.
Anal
Well,
Probe was
that-
the
that's-
original
yeah.
pilot, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Where the ship lands and just there's one episode where the ship lands and just crushes Kenny.
Yeah.
And then they just go on with the rest of the episode. It's a similar start with like the spaceship
Yeah.
coming down and
I will confirm, Keith, Universe Journey, the XO dying all the time is a direct Kenny reference.
That's
Nice.
funny.
I mean, South Park and Star Trek just go together. I didn't notice it
Yeah.
until now, but they really did. They've got some similar sensibilities and just I don't
Humor.
know.
The
You
humor
can
is
tell that Star
definitely-
Trek probably influenced the writers as they were developing the show.
This South Park tends to punch down a lot, but when it does punch up, it's smart humor and it's
South
good.
Park at its best is satire.
Yeah.
It's not just dumb comedy.
Right.
And it has had plenty of episodes that are great satire. And Star Trek is satire in a different way.
Well, it also does that thing.
Dog bear. Man dog bear.
Man, bear, pig.
Man, bear,
Bear,
pig.
Pig.
Yeah, like a Patrick Duffy.
Yeah, I did not get that until
No.
this most recent season when they really brought it back, and it's sort of like they were kind of eating their words on it, and really kind of
Like, hey
what,
guys.
well, I guess we shouldn't have been making fun of you for this. This is a real thing.
It's a real
Yeah.
thing.
I did not get even what they were going for back then. There were lots of things like that where it's just either I was too young or I just didn't really get what was going on. Like I noticed I point like my last note is the Aunt Flo thing. My early 20s, yeah, I did. That just that was lost to me. The whole
Your
thing they
early
were doing.
20s, you didn't get that?
Yeah, I just.
Oh, I got it.
I never heard that
I
expression
did watch
before.
these seasons in my early 20s, and I totally got
And
it.
plus, also this was like it was a different time then for it to be in your earlier 20s.
Keith
than it is
still hadn't
now.
touched a woman. No, I'm just kidding.
But
You couldn't have been any geekier than I was, so I'm not really ragging on
He
you.
had 2 sisters and a mom. I'm sure Aunt Flo
Yeah.
had
They
to
never
come up-
said Aunt
Did they-
Flo in my house. Why would
Did they never?
No.
What did they
My
call
mom
it?
never said it.
They never really
I
called
don't think
anything.
my
Yeah.
sisters and mom ever discussed. Well, I shouldn't say they never did. Now they probably dropped talking like crazy. But yeah, it was probably much later in life before they were like, "We're gonna have a conversation about this."
Yeah.
I knew of it though.
But yes,
I took health class.
Obviously, I knew what menstruation was, but I didn't
But they
understand.
never heard the
Heard the
Term
term
Aunt
Aunt
Yes.
Flo. Yeah, monthly visitor.
Right. Things like, they were just like I was kind of went.
And to get back to your point, Marianne, about when they go highbrow and all that stuff, they kind of do the Family Guy thing where every once in a while they remind you that Brian's a dog.
Yeah.
So every once in a while they'll be like, "Oh, by the way, these are kids, so they're gonna do fart jokes too." And that
Yeah.
kind of dumb
Oh,
stuff,
and
which I always think is
like
funny.
with
Or not
the.
really knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
I like when they do the Dewey, and he'll be like, "Oh, you can understand me now."
Right, right.
Those are the jokes that I.
Those are the jokes.
So the other episode.
The just couple minutes.
Oh,
we
I
watched.
have one last note on this one.
Oh, sure.
Because I feel like it's a start. That's spooky music they play.
Yeah.
Whenever it got weird, I was trying to reference it, and but it wasn't Star Trek. But I think it's from Excalibur, the movie.
Oh,
I couldn't
yeah.
find it. I couldn't find anything to verify it in the 3 minutes I researched. But it's either I think it's when either they're around the sword Excalibur or anytime anything spooky in that movie happened, including I think of Mordred. I can't. Yeah,
Morgana.
Yeah, Morgana. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite movies too. So I think they were obviously going for the weird Star Trek music, but they must not be able to get the rights to that.
Probably
and then the
not.
next, but they were able to get the love
The
theme for
next
one.
season. Yeah.
I felt like it might have even been. It reminded me of something I might have heard in like an episode of Buffy or here or there or something
Yeah.
too. That music, just
Yeah.
something.
Or they just got more versed in parody law because
Yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah.
The scene we watched, it was just a brief scene about 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah.
It was near the end. From Hooked on Monkey Phonics was almost completely lifted from the Gamesters of Triskalia
Okay.
with Kirk and Shanna.
One-
Although it was, of course, the Ruth theme used in many episodes, including Shore Leave, as Stephen points out, where we actually saw the character Ruth.
So again, back then I would have had no. I don't think I had any idea of what they were doing with that. I wonder. I don't know how much of the dialogue was directly lifted or not, but it felt like a pitch
I
perfect
mean,
amalgamation of things.
The
that they were-
point of light, and over on that point of light, that was from the episode.
And the way Kyle walked away and put his hands behind him.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
definitely
Oh.
And the Shatner delivery right before the kiss.
Love it.
There was a bunch of it.
And doesn't the homeschool go end up being a complete horror at the end of the episode,
Yep.
or lack of a better term, horror?
Well, that was their wording for it.
yeah,
that was
right.
The,
Yeah.
turn of the episode. They were like, he ruined her by doing that. Just
Is this the one where Dio plays the school dance?
maybe.
Holy Diver. Now we're going down deep down the South
Yeah.
Park hole, but we're doing a South Park episodes.
I don't think there was any. I don't think there was anything like that at that
Yeah.
dance.
If you think these are anomalies, southpark.wikia.com says there are references in at least 30 episodes of South Park to
Yeah.
Star Trek,
That's-
and it lists them all.
Yep.
I mean, I won't go through them all because
Right.
there's way too many, but the very first one cracks me. Like, someone once said, don't try to be a great man, just be a man. And they were talking to, Jesus asked who said it, and they said Jesus, but it was actually Picard from Star Trek First Contact.
Stephen was right about Dio.
Oh,
Oh, nice. City on the Edge of Forever is actually an episode of
yeah.
South Park.
Yeah.
Right.
although it's a little bit different. There's a reference to Star Trek 3 and Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls, the way James Kirk kicks the Klingon off into the lava flow.
Yeah, yep.
They did a direct parody of Dagger in the Mine, and Roger Ebert should lay off the fatty foods.
Oh, right.
That was the planet Arium. Yeah.
How about that?
In the South Park movie, they again kicked somebody off the cliff into the lava flow to reference Star Trek 3.
Yes, yep.
There should be
a lot of First Contact references, too, which it makes... I mean, I like First Contact. But
I mean, one of the most notable ones I would have wanted to point out, too, is that I don't know if they point out Miri in there, too. The one where they had all the kids...
The Wacky Molestation Adventure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The Before Time, No Foolies, and the Shatner-esque speech.
It was amazing.
In one episode, The Passion of the Jew, the beginning of the episode, the four boys are role-playing as Star Trek characters. Cartman's the captain, and they've got First Officer Stan, Engineer Kenny, and Vulcan Jew Kyle.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
In Preschool, the episode Preschool, there is the teacher is based on the fictional Captain Pike from the Menagerie with the chair and everything.
Yep, I remember that.
So yeah, it mostly looks like it's original series and First Contact are where the main things. Con Noonien Singh is in Imagination Land as one of the villains. For the most recent one, they made Jeff Bezos modeled after the Telosians from The Cage. So they took some elements of The Cage for the episode Unfulfilled.
Oh my god!
Recently,
have you seen that yet? The Jeff Bezos stuff?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean they're still doing it today. So yeah, lest you think we didn't have an excuse for this episode, South Park deserves at least one special, at least.
Very much so.
And those guys are about my age. A year younger than me.
Trey Parker, Matt Stone.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
they're older than I thought.
Yeah. I'm older than I thought.
No, yeah, they would had to have been about that.
You are really old now. Well, I'm sure we'll get to the movies. We'll have lots of great quotes for you about aging.
Oh, yeah. I really relate now.
What size girdle are you at this point?
So, do we know what Kirk's waist size was?
It fluctuated.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the fall episodes of each season,
Like the beginning.
he's in shape, and as the seasons go on, he gets bigger and bigger.
You mean
So by the end of every season, he's in a girdle.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, I
Kirk or
didn't.
Shatner, though?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he get in shape again during the off-season.
Yep.
That's interesting. You'd
Yeah.
think he would get out of shape during off season.
No, you have less time to do anything
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're actually shooting, I would think.
Yeah.
Especially back then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In
No
the movies,
trainer.
I think you just kind of let it go.
No trainers on set or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think when you did the movies, once you started getting into like 4 and up,
Yeah.
didn't matter because they were
Right.
already old.
Well, by
They
then he
weren't-
was
Yeah.
The only
my
diff-
age now.
You notice the first movie, they were all in like skin tight outfits. By the second movie, they're like, nope, let's do it.
No.
Let's do the big jackets.
So, do you think that they had mended fences by the time they started doing the movies?
I mean,
When was it that Kirk
then
Shatner
Shatner
realized
started
that
making
people?
the 90s.
Yeah, because I think
wow.
even like late 90s, he and Takei were not.
So when he wrote the book Star Trek Memories, which I want to say came out in the early 90s, maybe late 80s, I can look it up real quick. I read that book a whole bunch of times over and over again because it was at our library and it was easy to get at. And then he followed up with movie Memories. But I remember getting to the end of Memories, and he's like, I went and tried to talk to all of my cast members. Oh, it was published in 1993. I went and tried to talk to all of my cast members to get their thoughts on this. And DeForest Kelley was nice to me, and Nimoy was talking to me, and everybody else refused to even discuss things with me.
So he was good friends with Nimoy and DeForest Kelley,
Yes.
but nobody
Makes sense,
else.
doesn't it?
Nimoy, I think, got over stuff. I mean, they always had that rivalry, but they also, like, I don't know. I mean, Nimoy just didn't take it
Did
personally.
he think that?
It's too logical.
Yeah.
So
And DeForest Kelley just was the type of guy that loved everybody. Everybody else saw their parts get cut down because of what Shatner was doing. So,
So Shatner thought since he was the main character, he should have more lines.
yes. Well, honestly, it was mostly jealousy because Spock was so popular that he kept looking for ways to increase his character's role. Because he didn't think that there should be 2 leads. They thought he was the lead.
Yeah.
And so it was not necessarily trying to cut everybody else. It was just beefing up Kirk so that he would compete with Spock.
That's the one thing I missed when I watched it when I was younger. I didn't know any of that. I didn't start picking up on that until Stevens told me, or it was during an Alban track. He didn't tell me. He told
Right.
the group
The
that
podcast.
that he started doing these things, and I was just like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to get
And
into
if you believe Shatner's take on it, he just never realized he was doing it and had no idea that they all hated him.
And I can't remember.
How can you be that obtuse, though?
If you're that self-involved, you don't notice.
You know actors. You know how they can be. I can't remember if I mentioned in that episode or not, but I know I read something recently that their take on it was like Shatner was supposed to be that he'd gotten these rave reviews on theater reviews as a great actor and everything. Now all of a sudden he's doing this space show, and it's like, okay, well, all right, this is my time. It's like, all right, well, maybe I'm not going to be Olivier, but I'm going to be the star or whatever. And at least that was part of. They speculate that was part of his, part of what drove him to be like, well, I should. And then, yeah, I'm sure he was.
I mean, I think there were a lot of factors.
Yeah, and sometimes he probably legitimately was like, I think Kirk should be a bigger part of this story or whatever. But
I mean, I love the. Part of what bothered me about the original series is there are a few episodes, especially the beginning of each season, where the other characters get more to do, and then as things go on, they lose out. And the movies finally started to rebalance it a little better, which is one of the things I appreciate about the films. So,
well, and it just makes me think now that we're in the golden age or prestige age or whatever we're calling it right now. Back then, even in the 70s, 80s, probably in the 90s, it'd be like, okay, this show's coming out, and here are your 3 people that you care about. Now, like, I just think about Shameless, and granted, they had to earn it over years, but I was looking at Shameless promo, it was 15 people. I'm like, all right, I know 12 of you.
Yeah.
I think I know the other 3, but yeah. Well,
Next Gen kind of did the opposite. They really balanced the cast during the series, and they get to the films, that's all Picard and Data. And I'm like, okay, I like Picard and Data, but
I also like everybody else.
Well, if you read the original script to Nemesis, and we'll talk about it when we get to Nemesis in 25 years, but the original script...
Expensive jokes.
I'm only half joking. The original script to Nemesis is a very well-balanced script that serves everybody, and then the final version that wasn't that good is heavy Picard and Data.
Why did they do that? I mean...
Because those were the popular characters. Those are who they thought people wanted to see.
Picard.
Those are the ones who just
Picard and Data.
Those are going to sell the toys.
I mean, that's why they're making a new Picard series, because he was so popular. It would be hard to make a Data series because Data wasn't supposed to age, and Brent Spiner aged quite a bit, as it is.
Also make
talk about people getting old, am I right?
There's been I know there's an online movement push to recast Data for the new series to say they downloaded him into a new body, and
I
think that's a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah.
And then find another role for Brent Spiner, because he's played other members of Nudie and Singh's family before in Enterprise and stuff.
Or you could just have him say that he upgrade, made his body age to imitate humans.
That's true too.
In All Good Things, the series finale Next Gen, when they went forward in time, he put that streak of gray in his hair to do that. I actually haven't seen that episode. I look forward to it. I read the novelization, but
I cannot wait for Next Gen. I remember watching it. I think I watched it with my mom, the entire, because I watched the original series with my mom, and then all of Next Gen. I mean, all 7 seasons.
Yeah.
I watched all of it with Mom. We would, if we couldn't get it, we would videotape it.
Well, we'll be there soon.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
in a couple
anything
years.
else? We'll be at Next Gen in months, not years.
Yeah, I think to reference 2 other podcasts, one of Jimmy-Jerome's favorites, the Star Wars Minute, and Are You Talking to REM to Re Me, which is Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott talking about each REM record or whatever, but in each one, as they go through the movie or they go through an album, they kind of talk about where they were at that time in their life. And so I already feel that way. Like, obviously, the original Star Trek, I was a kid. And then Next Gen is like end of high school, into college. And then when we get to later ones, it'll be, this is why I wasn't watching that. I was in law school or started doing a ton of theater. So I think that'll be an interesting aspect as well. And like talking about South Park tonight. It's like, that's the week I found out I passed the bar. But that night I was stressed because I didn't know I was going to pass.
Well, we need to go watch some animated Star Trek. We may have another bonus or we may not before we come back with animated. I'm not sure yet. But stick with us. We'll be back in mid-February. I can't remember the date, but it's set for the animated series. Until then, live long.
And hella prosper.
It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?